in the East Coast. But we just want to thank you, Coach, for being here, and thank you for giving us a lesson.
No, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity. I know a lot of you are cooped up. I've been cooped up too. But now we got a dojo in Brett's house. Brett's this is his second class, so he agreed to help me, even though he's got a headache. But I appreciate the opportunity, and today basically we're going to go over some things that I use that will help your game. I found out that a lot of what eliminates your progress in any kind of move, any technique, are not paying attention to the small details. So first of all, we're going to go over how I grip. It's important to get the proper grip in, solid in. You know, you don't have, this is not only is this jiu-jitsu, but this is also, you're an actor in a sense. You have to think of it as you're an actor. You can't go 100% towards a technique, for a choke, for example, like Brett. So let's say this, for me, Brett doesn't want to leave this position. So in a sense, other than being able to get arm bars and stuff, this is still my guard. If you think about it, like he doesn't want to leave, so it'll be the equivalent of my legs being around him and keeping him in this position. So instead of trying to defend and escape, because I can't escape, I can't bring my leg up here and then bump him over. I can't do all that stuff anymore. I'm literally stuck here. And I've been stuck here for 8 years. So in those 8 years, I found all the little nuances that make things more effective. And then if you have any more mobility than I do, then you could definitely do it with, even better. My mobility starts at my sternum and up. So I have my pecs, my upper back, and my arms. That's all I have. So from here down, I don't have any mobility. So I'm unable to escape. It'll take too much energy. So I found that it's very important for me to get a proper grip, and because I don't have the time to readjust grips and stuff. Everyone knows this. You open the grip and then you grab. But even this is a shallow grip. You see how he's up here and I grab here? I have a shallow grip. Now I have to go all the way. I have to pull on this and go deeper. So my theory and the way that I approach everything now is I grab here and like Brett, you're trying to get a choke or something, but just do it half so we can demonstrate. So while he's working, I'm pulling this out and then I'm defending. And then as I'm working, then I grab, but my grip isn't this, trying to grab. My grip is this. And then I pull my forearm, which tooth did you get pulled?
Oh, it's fine.
Okay. So, yeah. So I get deep with my grip originally, but the problem that we have is when we get a grip, we're so gung-ho on trying to finish it. This is my grip. I have this grip now. I don't need to start the move. I need to eliminate. So right now, I'm eliminating his progress. So when he decides to let go of this grip because he's not getting anywhere, so let go and just try to. That's when I get deeper. But if you see, I capitalize on that movement. He loosened that grip. I'm able to get deeper. But my grip from the beginning is so strong. I don't have to readjust it through all these different positions and stuff. I kept that grip so strong from the beginning. So now I literally, the choke's halfway there. I can grab his arm. I can go here. I can do the tradition, but the choke's halfway there because I focus more on the grip rather than the technique. So my grip, I found that this is another grip I hold. So I just grab 2 on one and I pull and I just frame. Because my theory is he wants to get this other side. So he can do this or he can walk his fingers. Walk your fingers right here. All I'm trying to do is eliminate his move, his technique. Every technique, I don't have to do anything. I don't have to escape. I mean, you guys are able to escape, so use these to escape, to get to your escape. But for me, I don't have to do anything. All I have to eliminate is his technique. So let's break that down. How do you want to do this? Do you want me to show you the grip and you guys practice the grip first? Is everyone here?
Yeah, it just takes a second to unmute ourselves. Yeah, we can look for thumbs up a lot of times. We do have to run back and forth too. So, but yeah, that sounds good to me. I think we get another thumbs up.
Okay. All right. So what I'll do is basically you're going to get your grip. This is how you're going to practice it with your dummies or your partner. You're going to get your grip, but you're going to open, and then you're fighting. You're not opening and then going. Like a lot of times you have to. It's a show. You have to fake it. So open it, and then you're playing here. Maybe you're here. Boom! I'm in my grip. That's one of my go-tos. Is I grab this side, and I can go for that baseball choke. But half the time it's awkward. It's hard to get that baseball choke. So I put this elbow out, and then I dump. But look because I started on that side. Look how far my grip, how deep my grip is on him. It's already choking him.
It's deep.
if you're losing it, because I don't know. But you see, my point is getting the grip and never holding it, but focusing on more of your grip from the very beginning makes every choke, that more effective at the end of the steps. So, for example, let's do Brett's grip now. Brett wants to open the gi, but we've all been here 100 times. We know if he opens a gi, we know he's going for a choke. So right there, rather than doing that, all I have to do is this. And eliminate, I can grab on my arm, under my armpits, these grips, and go. Try to do it, choke me now. You know, it's uncomfortable, but I'm not in danger. That's literally how easy it is to take a move out. Because Brett's, let's break it down. First, you open. First you open, 1. Then you get your grip, deep grip. That's 2. And then you either do the swim, walk around. That's 3. The frame on the face. 4. Grab the grip. 5. And then the 6 and 7 for your choke. So a lot of times when someone's attacking you, you're late. So he already has this. So you have to go in your brain, you do it too. That's the beauty of it, is you know exactly what he's going to do because you do it as well. So if I'm too late, I didn't eliminate this. So I just, you know how we go like this and do that. Why? Because we're eliminating a step. So if I get too far, he gets both hands in and eliminate, I'm too late. But what does he need to do in order to get this choke? He needs to come down. He needs to do, the next step. So you have to break every technique down in steps because all you're trying to do is eliminate the steps. So if he comes in, get a double, I'm super late, he got in here. So I break his arms together. I go here. Remember the arm bar, worry about arm bar. Just straighten an arm. Go ahead, choke me. I straighten an arm, I get in there. You know what I mean? I just try to eliminate the steps because he wants to do this. So I eliminate the steps, but if I'm up here, he's gonna arm bar me. So instead, I try to lock the arms together. My friend in Florida Carlos showed me, put these arms together, they can't do anything. And then I started adding this. When you grab lapels, by the way, if you pull it from here, you're only getting this much. If you get it off their back, you're getting way more. So keep that in mind. Just grab, so you're here, you pull the lapel off their back, you get way more. And then I come through here, I either control one arm, or if their lapel's big enough, I get here, and I get both arms. Now do anything.
Negative.
It's like, so, but then all you're doing is waiting, because now you're gonna let go because you're gonna abort this. So when you get out, then you see that arm could come out. So I grabbed that. That's just a perfect example. But I'm tying him up. Trying to, obviously you guys have your legs, so you can just sweep them over. But you see, this is all I'm trying to explain is that this is not just, where this is a weapon. This is also, you can just tie him up with the lapel. You can just, but the concept is eliminating his movement. So if he needs to do this, if you're all the way late to even here, focus on, go ahead, get all the way to the end. So he needs to straighten his arm, his hands at the very end. If I can, he's down, it's too tight. Your last hope can be just grabbing one hand. Grabbing one hand, don't let him turn his wrist. You know what I mean? At this side's, he's choking me, but I'm not feeling it on this side. And then I'm just waiting for him to stop because I can't do anything. But you guys have more movement. So let's stop, let's pause there for a second. Is there any questions on what I was explaining? Because it's more of a concept, not so much more as a technique. So for practicing, you're going to basically put a grab your dummy, move your dummy around with your legs and stuff and your body, but just keep that grip as tight, and then you're gonna play around you're gonna play around until you see the choke. You don't go for the choke right away because you're just giving it away. Then you go for the choke, but what you'll end up doing is seeing stuff out of the blue.
Hey, Coach, I had a question. This is Natalie. So when you're first getting in that initial grip, you weren't pulling down so much as moving your elbow up, so you're kind of like wrenching the side of his neck and head with your forearm, and then that helps break his posture. Is that kind of an
Well, I found so lay down real quick. I found that for example, if you're a mountain bike rider and you're going down the mountain, it doesn't fail. If you look at the rut, you're going to eventually just go to it. For your brain just brings you to it for some reason. So I found out, and that's the theory in a lot of sports. Wherever the head goes is where your body's going to go. So the reason I do that forearm wrench, I call it like a wrench, because if I pull Brett's head to this side of his body, get up, Brett. He needs to move his head before he can move. You see, like, so if I'm just focused on his head, go. Yeah, it eliminates his movement. He has to adjust that before. So it's one more thing he has to fix before he can move. So that's why instead of I get so deep, but it's keeping them like this. So if you want to work over here and your head's stuck over here, that's another thing that I purposely practice on my end, is when I'm stuck, is being able to adapt and work without looking at it, because we're so stuck in looking at it. We have to look at what we're doing. So yeah, that's real quick. That's the grip, and that works anywhere. He could be here, and I could be like this, into the guillotine. But that's if he moves his jaw. But most of the time, it's just diverting his head, because now he wants to come to me. Look what he has to do with his head. He has to adjust his head, because he can't. If I'm holding his head this way and he wants to go to side control, go. See how he has to turn and go into me. So it's just a way of control. It's adding more steps to his movement. So that's the other thing. So he has five steps to complete the rear naked choke. But if I add it, now he has 6, because now he has to move his head, just as an example.
All right. That sounds great. I'd love to practice that.
All right. Sorry, I get you feel free to cut me off, because I can keep going. Is there any other questions?
I have a question.
All right. What's up? Who's
Um,
that?
Hi, I'm Daniel
Daniel.
Avisar.
He's a professor.
Hi.
All right, I got you.
Cool. So what kind of pressures do you put on the head? I like the deep grip and the way you're pushing on people or your opponent's head here, but I guess I'm thinking there's a lot of dimensions to that. Like what kinds of pressures and frames, and obviously you're turning their head so they can't see, and then it confuses them as you're explaining. So what are the pressures on the head that you use once you have the grip or you're baiting the grip?
Okay, so basically, you want me to break down the whole grip, the pressure of it.
Yeah, more the so I have a dummy. I'm thinking like you had this double, you get deep, and I'm imagining all these ways to push on the head, and I'm just I want to know like specifically which angles you're going for, or you know, which ones are more advantageous.
Okay. All right. So basically, what you explained is half of the. The answer to your question is half of what you explained is half of it. It's because a lot of your mobility is using that grip with the mobility. So, and we explained that everyone that we have the two phones, so all the details will be down on this phone that I'm holding. So you can click on that instead of the main one if you want it. That's why I'm talking to this phone.
Right.
So let me see if. Can you see? Yeah. That's good there, right?
Yeah, the other camera angle is also very good because it's a more general. I'm using the other one, but I was on the phone, looking at the phone before.
Okay. So here's the details. Is basically, it's not just my forearm.
Uh-huh.
You know the process of going like this for a choke? Yeah. I'm doing the turn already. I'm halfway choking them, so why wait to do this for the choke? I'm deep, but I'm already twisting my wrist. It's already putting it right into it. So just the control is cutting off the flow of this side of his neck. So, and then I add just twisting my elbow out. So he could push on the elbow to eliminate that, this side. So to eliminate that pressure, but he's opening up opening up the avenue for the choke. So it's basically wrist, twisted wrist, and I'm going like this. And I'm just waiting. Most of the time, I'm waiting for him to react. And then I can go. You know what I mean? So a lot of times it's uncomfortable because I'm pushing him this way. Give you a break.
What change you so you can see maybe?
Yeah, so it's uncomfortable because I'm pushing him this way, but I'm twisting that wrist. So when he tries to do or come back into me, I hold the here, go to this other phone. This is a good grip, everyone. Come down. This right here.
Yeah.
Behind the ear, we all have our skull like scoops. So I put I'm a rock climber before, so a lot of my grips are rock climbing grips. But I just put my fingers right on that skull scoop, and it gives you a hand. In case you didn't, but just reach behind your own head, and you could feel the scoop in your own ear. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's a really good grip. When I go down for that head control, I grab that right behind the ear and I pull that. It's uncomfortable too. It's not a pressure point, but that's one of the grips, especially when their head's sweaty. I grab there. So that being said, I'm holding here with all this pressure, and then I grab that ear. And then remember I said about the moving his head? When you grab that ear, look at his head. Come back, Brett. See how that much pressure that ear has? Mm-hmm. And it's just grabbing the back of his skull. And then with this and this, it just controls his head more. But I can't do anything from here. But look, But look at this. Thumb, grabbing the ear control. Use my head now. Come back up. I'm using my head. And then my thumb's right next to the lapel. Thumb in, grab the lapel. And then but grab the lapel loose when he gets up. When he comes up, you let the pressure, he's coming up into the choke. Don't let him know you grab that lapel. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, that's a nice angle. Thank you.
All right. Does anyone else have a question? Anybody else? Going once? Going twice?
No, I just need to practice it or else I'm going to forget it.
Okay. All right. So let's practice that for how much time do you want to, how do you want to do this? As far as like give you 2-3 minutes to drill, or how does it work?
Two or 3 minutes. I mean, in a class, we would practice for 2 minutes, right? And then we would change sides. So 2 or 3 minutes sounds fine.
Okay. So let's do that.
Maybe you could look at us and make corrections.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there you go. Daniel, does that make sense for you as far as sneaking in the thumb and everything?
Yeah, absolutely. I've been I've been trying to keep my head away from people, so they don't do what you're doing. So yeah, and I need to work on that choke. So I like these finer details. My dummy doesn't really have a working head or neck, but yeah, I know that angle. And once you pull them down, I've been in that situation with high level people where I shouldn't have been there to begin with. So yeah, it's really nice.
Okay, and don't forget when you're pulling them down with don't forget everyone, when you're pulling them down with the grip, you got your grip in the elbow leverage, but when you're pulling them down and you're adjusting to the thumb in the lapel for that choke, you use your head to stop him from coming back up. So you're using your head, this grip, and the backside ear grip. That's 3 grips on one head, on his head.
Cool.
All right, let me see what else everyone else. Now, Natalie, try to go over his head instead of trying to get the traditional lapel chokes. Go over his head and control his head to bring him down. Yes, but you would be grabbing that ear basically, and then you bring him down to your chest with turning the head. Now put your thumb into the lapel. Yeah, and then just let you do that softly where they don't know you're grabbing the lapel, and then when they try to frame up, you're slipping your elbow over the bone into the choke. Yep. But you're letting them think that they're getting away. Because that's the pressure on that second. When you grab the lapel, the second one, you're not letting them know you have it. You're letting them think they're escaping. Any questions now? That we move to the next one.
Oh, you can hear me. No.
Okay. All right. Who's next? Let's see. You're watching. Max. Let's see, Max. Yes. There you go. It's so funny. It's cool to see everyone's dummies. Max, can you hear me? So,
Yes, I can.
you got that, and it's good what you're doing, bringing your legs up high on them. It's always a big help to break down that back. Just that's one thing I remember when I was walking is I always kept my guard high up on them, and because they wouldn't have any movement, and that's where what you're doing was helping. So if everyone keep that in mind, your abilities will make these techniques even better than what I can do. So if it works for me, you guys can do it.
Awesome. Thank you.
Rose.
That's way too low.
It's like a ground. I have one in California, 90 pounds. Yeah. Wait, Rose. But go back to do it all over again, and I'll walk you through it. So get your grip. That what you just did is probably my most important and effective grip. So right there, you're holding. You're going to you see how the head's facing towards you? You gotta face it, have it turning the other way. Yeah, so now right there, when you're reaching around to grab that ear, you're trying to move the head, and then you're gonna slip your thumb right in at the very back of the lapel, almost where the label is. A little more towards the back of the neck. Yeah, because now when you come through, both your grips are going to be, they're going to be so much tighter because you are further behind the head. So the further you get behind the head from the very start of any grip is going to be your grip at the end, because when it's live and they're going live on you, you don't have time a lot of times you don't have time to adjust. So that's why it's important to get solid grip from the very start. But you did well there. RTL. Okay, RTL. What's your name?
That's Rob.
Rob. All right, Rob. Can you turn so I can see both of the top of your heads? Other way. Other way. One more. Yeah. Put your back to me. Okay, now go back on your back, and then I'll watch you. Right there. Okay, stop. Everything right there. Just pull everything to your chest. Let's say they're bucking, they're fighting you. You understand? You know what I mean? So just hold them. You're in no hurry to get this choke because you're in full control. Bring the back of your calf muscles to the mid of their back. So yes. So now you have more control of them. They can't posture up. If you have control above their lower spine, they can't posture up. It takes longer. So now you have more control. Now you're going to adjust your right elbow, bringing it up towards your head, and just kind of trying to let them slip through. Once they slip through is when you let them know that you have that grip. So once their head pops out, let their head pop out bring your right elbow over their head. Yeah, so now they think they're safe, they're getting away, but you had that grip the whole time. And then everything comes together. Bring your legs back up on top of his back. And and then you pull everything down into your chest, put your head, you're trying to put ear to ear. Remember, when you do any kind of lapel choke, you're doing ear to ear, and that tightens everything. And at the very end, inhale and then make your chest bigger, and that should solidify the choke at the end. If you're ever having trouble, I found that if I just inhale, it's just that much more that I need. That makes sense? Okay. Did I get? Oh, there's no one there.
Can I ask another question? This is Daniel.
Yeah. Who is it?
Daniel Avasar. Well, on my end, I'm first on the list. I asked the question earlier.
Yeah.
Do you play overhook or Kimura stuff, or is your main game, given your abilities, going for the neck and this head control?
No, I do. The first thing I ever learned was arm bars. So even today, I go for arm bars. It's just naturally see them. But a lot of I can't go for Kimuras and stuff because you need to have more leverage at most times. So I modify them, and then I also usually just use them in mount. That's what I was going to show next. I think we're ready, right? Since you brought that up, we'll just move to that.
Next technique.
So now we're going to bring in the shoulder submissions in. So the mount, when they mount, a lot of times too, I haven't shown Brett this, so we're going to teach him now. The 2-on-1, you know that everyone, you want to do 2-on-1, these are basic. So you grab 2-on-1 and you're trying to put this on the ground. And then your goal is to take this arm, come under and grab your own wrist. And then you bring this elbow down towards my belt. Oh, right there. And then you're trying to lift it back up. Right there. So that's what you're trying to do. So I found that a lot of times I'm stuck here, and then they go for this. They go for. Let me see. Which one? Okay. So when they're going for this, there's this. I go here. I just go over and I pull. I go over and grab my own wrist. I go over. So go. He's going for that, and he's got it. I'm late. So instead of trying to fight this, I go over and grab my own wrist, and then I bring it back over. So even though he has 2-on-1, go 2-on-1. No, before you started. I go here, grab my own wrist, and then I bring his arm over. And now I have him in the shoulder lock. So even if he sinks it in, go all the way, I can still fight through and bring it over. And then here's my look. I fight through. I keep this whole thing tight to my chest. Is this a good angle for you, everyone?
That's look great, yeah.
And then right here, I can't get the shoulder because he's holding on. So I use his own wrist against him. Hey, tap, make sure you tap. So you see how he's holding his wrist? So I bring that, I put this down on my chest, and then I'm going like that.
So that's a wrist lock?
Tap. He doesn't want to tap. Yeah, so then it's a wrist lock here if I can't get to the shoulder lock. But if he takes this, oh, but look where I'm holding his arm. I'm not letting him out now. Because he didn't want to, he was stubborn, so now I'm not letting him out. And everything's tight. Put your head on there, and then just start pushing this wrist down over his own arm. Is that you all right? Mm-hmm. And then if anything, he's going to get out of there. He's going to abort and get out of this whole position a lot of times when you go for the wrist. But that's the shoulder lock you were asking. So when they're going for the 2-on-1, I just go over and grab them. Then I bring it over to this side. A lot of times you can just use it to start your escape, basically. Does that answer your questions as far as the shoulder locks go?
Yeah, it's really nice. My dummy doesn't have hands or really arms working, so I was just picturing it. But what is the motion, the force that you're using to bring it back? Is it through, you know, kind of your whole core twisting, because everything seems really tight?
No, that's what I mean. Is like you would be able to do this so much more effective because you have the core. I don't have a core, so
Right.
it's really just using. I'm making everything tight, pulling the slack out. It's really just my arms.
Okay.
But when you go like this, you're fighting. It's the whole concept of push my arm down. It's easier for I push my arm down. It's the same concept. When you're stretched out, it's harder. When everything's tight, you can move it better.
Nice. Yeah.
So resist this, right? So that's the reality of the resistance. Like you have to fight. It's not something easy, but it's more leverage than what he has.
Cool. Thank you.
Okay, now turn up. So now you lay down. So so now I'm going to show you what I do when I am, like, for example. So everything on top can be done on the bottom. Everything on the bottom can be done on top. So what I was explaining to you is I can't come over here. I can't do this because I don't have any bottom weight, so he can just flip me. So I'm stuck all the way on this side. But I can have this side control. And I'm here. So when I do 2-on-1, instead of doing 2-on-1, you guys can see that, right? Instead of doing it this way, because I can't get over here, I grab it down here. So you can do this on the bottom too. I'm controlling his head. Remember his control of the head? I combo everything. When I control, I try to combo. So I'm controlling his head. For him to do something, he has to put his head on the ground because he uses that as leverage. But then I'm here and I'm controlling. It's all about control for me. Bring the slack. Look, my chin. Slide in. Grab the wrist. I have the control now. And then it's a matter of my arm doing this. You know what I mean? It's not, I don't have to bring it down here. I can't, I'm unable to. So I figured out that it's all about control, making it tight. And then look at bring your arm out so you can tap better. So look how quick the tap comes. It's right, you don't have to move. You don't have to move a big distance because you took the slack out. And what I mean about slack is if I grab it here and try to choke, I got to pull all the slack out instead of just grabbing. This is pulling the slack out from the beginning. And then choke is, instead of trying to get the choke, it's already there. So keep that in mind. But that's what I do on top. And that's what I'm trying to explain is you just have to think outside the box. A lot of times, sometimes we're tired. Sometimes the opponent, Jiu-Jitsu is about leverage, but sometimes they're just way bigger than you or you're exhausted. So you're stuck in that position. We're sick. We're sick. So let's practice that. If you don't have arms on your dummy, then you can you can just keep going with the other stuff. But try to get your grip, but move your dummy around. Feel the weight. Just move the weight around, and you move your dummy around until you have a choke. So just keep moving it, and the choke appears. It appears on its own.
Hey, Coach.
Yeah.
Could you do? I was just writing down the Americana again, where you're underhooking Brent's head. Could you do that again one more time so I can see the position of your hands?
The one where I pull it over.
No. So you're just doing an Americana.
The top one.
Where you're underhooking his head, and then you're underhooking his south arm.
From the top.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, from the top. Yes. I'm seeing what your grips are.
So when I go side control, I'm here. I
Okay.
do that. I do that same grip, or I do it on the neck.
Sure.
So that's my initial side control. But look, even if I can't get his wrist, you can grab his lapel. Look, even this is giving him trouble. And then it's just a matter of grabbing underneath here. So it's really, you could do 2-on-1, but instead of doing 2-on-1 here, get your underhook. He's fighting, he's pushing you, frame it. Use the frame. Use the frame. Look. You see what I mean?
Okay.
So he's trying to push you.
Right.
That's what that arm is doing. So trying to get away. I just use this frame. You can use it. I used it at my neck, but right now he just went into a head and arm choke. But let's say he went here. I found that this is more effective than this for me. But all I'm trying to do is get his hand. No, I'm trying to get his hand as close to his head as possible. And then I grab it from the underhook. But I'm not just grabbing it, I'm pushing his head up too. So if you push his head up, he's stuck. And then look how easy it is for you to use this arm. I use that. You can go wrist lock, or you can just slide through. And then oh, that's a detail I didn't say. The lock isn't the shoulder this way. It's turning the shoulder in place. So you're not twisting the shoulder out of the back of the sock. You're twisting the whole shoulder in the sock.
You're twisting it outwards as opposed to upwards.
Yeah, exactly. So the twist isn't far. So now I am going to demonstrate that. Or you guys want to practice that before I go to?
Let's practice that. Thank you.
Okay. So I'll give you 3 minutes and then we'll move on.
Question. I'm practicing that in my head. I like that, and my dummy doesn't reach that far.
Yeah.
What's the grip on the wrist? Are you grabbing the little ridge where the hand and the bones of the arm meet, so you have that little hooking place, or where are you holding in the hand?
Can you hold this for us? I'll do some details close up for you.
Thank you.
Just hold it on my hands, basically. So first grip is your two. It's just come on. First grip's your 2-on-1, like your actual 2-on-1, but instead of your 2-on-1 up here, because you can ES play, you're doing 2-on-1 here.
Yeah.
Bring it down. Yeah, right there. You're doing 2-on here, and then sometimes I'm so far over here, and if I try to go, I'm jeopardizing myself. So sometimes I'm just grabbing here until I can get my chin handed up. See, now I'm controlling with my chin. I don't need this hand for that split second. Controlling on my chin so I can get deeper. And now the whole submission really isn't even, it's really this.
Right.
It's twisting his arm out. But with this, it's using my shoulder. I'm not moving this for the submission. That's a bonus.
Can you move the camera down just a little bit so I can see the hands? But yeah, that looks really cool. I'd like to. Yeah, nice.
Yeah, but just note that the submission isn't coming from me moving the hand. It's the same forearm like pressure, but the opposite way. So instead of wrenching out, I'm wrenching in with my elbow. That's really the submission. Does that make sense? Because the submission is really you can do one arm. Look, if I pull his head, you know what I mean? So you can do that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm just thinking about the angle. You need that grip to be low to cause the lever on the elbow and the shoulder. Again, I don't even want to work it on, so I'm just kind of gonna try to play it in my head over and over. But it's nice.
But also keep in mind, I have to. With your legs, you're going to be able to adjust better, because you're going to have more leverage, because you're going to be up, knees in. You know what I mean? I'm stuck. I'm dragging over here. I'm like stuck way over here. So with you, you're actually going to be able to get in there. You know what I mean? And then and another thing is if you're here, you can go over his head, with your whole body. But see my spider guard grip?
Yeah.
So instead of grabbing my wrist and stuff, I grab this spider guard grip. Because now you know how when you grab a grip, you have way more control. So now I can control his head, but look, that grip, that spider guard grip, it gives me a lot of leverage. And then look, I use my forearm. It's the forearm doing it. You know what I mean?
Nice.
That makes sense?
Yes, thank you.
All right, everybody, anyone else having any problems?
Yeah, you beat up, don't you?
Okay, Rose, you're going to, instead of going 2-on-1, just get your underhook, your head, underhook under the head. And then you go on 2-on-1 from that position. Because look at your dummy's head. See how it's chin to the chest? They have to take their head off the ground, put their head on the ground to move. You're making it awkward for them to move when you do that. There you go, perfect. Nice. So, no, that was perfect. That's good. So I have a question for you all, the ones who, when you get that grip, I just noticed on Rose that the sprawl seemed to be natural. Does that feel like what's natural for you guys is to sprawl out and in order to do that? Because I'm just stuck there, so I don't know if that sprawling makes it a little more effective.
I'm just trying to keep my legs out like you are, but I do notice that I feel like I'm kind of pressing in on my near hip.
Okay.
I mean, I'm trying not to, but.
No, it's good. It's good. Yeah, if you try it with my mobility and get it down anything more, you're just going to get better at it.
I think recently, so I've been teaching on Wednesdays, and recently we've been kind of focusing a lot on this. Basically, what I can do with a dummy. So I've been working on that sprawl pressure to simulate one type of pressure from side control. But there's so many places to shift to and so many games to bait the hands. So I've been showing that, and I think Coach Paul has been showing that. But I think at our gym we do play a lot of different side controls and notice a lot more leg lock stuff happening lately. So I think we're using that sprawl just recently because we're at home with our dummies.
Okay. All right.
I was curious too. What do you feel is like the strongest side control? Because I constantly get dumped over, and I see like holding the grips and stuff would make me less likely to. But I was curious for you, like where do you feel like the heaviest, the strongest, in what position?
I call it invisible pressure. I don't know if anyone else uses that or not, but that's what I call it. So here's my invisible. All right, so all right, is that good? Yeah, that's it. Okay, so we'll move on to that. Since we're in side control, we'll move on to the invisible pressure. So again, so what I do, this is the most effective side control I have, is I come the same thing in the head, I'm controlling them. But right here, they always want to frame. That's the natural reaction for your opponent is the frame. So a lot of times I use that frame. And this is what I mean about importance about slack. If you pull the lapel way out here, you're going to have all this slack that you're going to have to adjust. Okay. So you're controlling the head. You don't even have to use the hand. I'm using my forearm in this case because I'm going to feed the lapel. So here's the trick, is I grab it at the armpit. There's zero slack in this right here because because I'm grabbing his lapel at his armpit, and then when I feed it over, I have control of his armpit now, his whole shoulder and everything. So this is my most effective side control because I don't need this arm anymore. Go ahead, get up. See how I'm controlling him from the bottom? So he kind of doesn't realize why he can't get up. So I'm basically breaking that. So now using this arm is easier. Come up. I can just frame. It's really easy because I'm controlling them from the bottom. So the pressure is this. When I can bring them here, you're gonna have your knees in. Regular side control, your knees in. So you're gonna use this grip to bring him up onto your knee. So you see how, just hold right there. See how this shoulder is up on my leg now? In order to move, he has to move this. He has to put this shoulder. Again, I'm eliminating his body. So I took his head off the ground, took his shoulder off the ground, controlling that shoulder. I have complete control of him right now with minimal effort. Go ahead, Brett. See, look what happened. You had to wiggle off and get this shoulder on the ground in order to start his attack. That's what I'm trying to get at, is he has to move his head to get on the ground to move. He has to put his head on the ground. He has to put his shoulder. I'm eliminating his movements. So come back up. So from here is my best side control because I have control. And then look, remember what I showed you earlier? Look at this. Same grip as earlier. Just relax. And then look where my hand is. Same thing, but with the lapel. Now, do anything? It's one hand, and I have a third of my body. It's that effective. That grip is effective because you're controlling his shoulder, and this shoulder's off the ground. He's stuck. So from there, you could do that baseball choke. You could dump his head and have the choke on the other side, and then do the same thing I taught you from the bottom. Does that help?
So much. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Hey, Coach, are you using kind of the shoulder of justice to kind of hold him down, or it's really just that far gi grip?
Wait, say that again.
So when you were, if Brent could get back into the position, you were controlling his far gi corner underneath his far underarm.
This one.
Yeah, exactly. And I see your left bicep is pretty close to the side of his face. Are you pushing away the direction of his face with your bicep?
You mean like this?
Yeah.
Yeah, when you pull his shoulder, come back. You pull him up. Exactly. That's exactly what you're doing. You're putting this grip down here, and you're the same, always pressure in their face. Because look, I let Brent move. He has, wait, just move your head. He has movement, but if I go here and move your head, he's got a wall on this side, and he can move his head only this way. And then I can get in. You know what I mean? Look. You know what I mean?
Ooh, the reverse Ezekiel.
So there's everything that you can do on the bottom, you can do on top. Everything you can do, every Ezekiel, every choke, everything is available from every position. We won't get into it, but for example, look at this. We'll do that armbar I showed you. So he's on the back, he's choking me, or he goes to seatbelt control, and then I'm just waiting. I'm not holding his arm because I'm going to give something away. So just simulate, you don't have to go. And then I'm waiting here. Once he opens the seatbelt grip, I'm out here. And then look, armbar. There's an armbar there. There's an armbar here. You know what I mean? There's a head and arm choke here. Where you fell over. But that's what I mean. Like everything you do, there's 50% of jiu-jitsu that's not being used. I'm just fortunate enough to be in a position to have a blue belt when I fell, so I understand the basics of jiu-jitsu, and I've been the last 8 years stuck in all the worst positions that we were trained to escape from. But since I had been there for 8 years, I've seen everything so many times that when someone passes my guard, they put their knee right there every single time. So now I anticipate that knee. I have their lapel, they put their knee down, I feed it through, and I'm already on it. Before they even establish their side control, I have control of it. It's because you have to be aware, you have to pay attention to your vulnerable spots. And train. I got the best advice when I first started. I started in San Diego, so I have all the friends over there. But Jeff Glover gave me the best advice I've ever it was just, I needed that advice. He goes, put yourself in the very worst position and get out of it. If you want to throw armbar, get that armbar as deep as possible, as deep as the end of the armbar. We don't train that. It was such an eye-opener for me when he told me that. It changed my whole game, because not only did I have to fight out of the worst positions and actually earn how to do that, I actually am venturing into a world where I don't feel comfortable. Like, put me in an armbar. No, armbar. This way. Yeah, that's it. So now, when I'm in an armbar, I feel comfortable enough to sit here long enough, because I know the controls, the details. Again, what's an armbar? Pinch your legs. I open his leg. I'm stuck. I can't get out. I grab this leg, because if he goes for armbar, he's taking his leg with him. Again, I have a strong grip. I was construction and rock climbing before, plus jiu-jitsu, and now a wheelchair. So my grip. But that's my point, is I feel comfortable enough, because I practice the armbar from the full arm. I practice the armbar from here, and I'm tapping, and then I'm starting to realize, okay, I just do this. Use my shoulder. Look, I'm using my shoulder. I get here. I found out that I can go here, and look, I have a toe hold. You know what I mean? So.
Right.
Just showing you that you can do anything from any position on the mat. That's what I found out in these past 8 years. Is there's a world of jiu-jitsu, obviously, that we didn't know about, because we didn't need to know about it. We have the fully able capability to escape. So if we can get to a safer position, that's what you want to do always. That's absolutely what you want to do. But there's times when you're tired. There's times when you're pinned. There's times when you can't. So you have this stuff. The other side of jiu-jitsu is basically a full spectrum. And so I keep rambling now. So
no, these are all great. I was at World Masters, and I tore my MCL, and this lady had them out, and I was like, I was befuddled. I mean, she didn't choke me, but I was like, I would have loved to have known that there was a submission available to me when she was on the mount. So, is there a way for people to, what's the best way for people to keep in touch with you as you're going across? Maybe you're signing up. They could sign up for a seminar or sign up for your magazine.
Basically, I'm on a 2-year road trip, visiting rehab centers to promote the benefits of jiu-jitsu. That's my main goal. But I am going to be doing seminars and teaching this type, because I never stopped walking in my brain. I was a blue belt, and when I'm on the mats and I'm finding new techniques, I'm finding them with my legs. I keep thinking like, oh, I can do this, and then triangles there. I still think with my legs, because I never stopped. That's just something, when I look at jiu-jitsu, I use my legs still. So I teach the seminars because I know that these techniques work for me. They're going to work for fully able bodies. So that's why I go to academies. So if you are interested, obviously just keep following, basically, and you'll see when I'm in your state or around your area. But you'll know in advance. And I have my website, and I have...
Which is the website again? Because you got a couple. Which website should they follow?
They all go to the same one. So okay. P as in Patrick, Para Jiu-Jitsu, pjjmag.com is the easiest to. And get the free magazine while you're there too.
Well, thank you so much, Coach. This was awesome. Great details.
I hope it helps. And again, if any of you you're using the techniques and you're like, oh, this is cool. I use my legs for this. Please share. I always want to see advancements on things that I can't decide that I can't do.